Okay, for today's classwork, I'm going to have you take out a piece of paper and copy down all these problems. I'm at day number 2 of jury duty. If I get picked today, I'll be out till Tuesday. So either way, I'll be here tomorrow or I'll be out till Tuesday. So again, take out a piece of paper, write down these problems, and then turn them in at the end of the period, and then I'll have you continue with the movie that you started yesterday. So today we're looking at the order of operations and the distributive property and different ways of showing the distributive property. So for this problem right here, I want you to understand that there's 2 ways of doing this problem. So the first way is by doing order of operations and by doing the work inside the parentheses first. The second way is taking that 4 out front and multiplying it times both numbers inside there. So here we go. When the ghostwriter starts writing, I'll start explaining what he is doing, or she. Alright, so the first one, do the work inside the parentheses first. So adding that 3 and that 2 gives me 5. And then when I times that 4 times that 5 gives me 20. Or taking that 4 and multiplying it by both numbers inside the parentheses. So I'm multiplying the 4 times that 3, and then I'm going back and multiplying that same 4 all the way down times this 2. So when I multiply 4 times 3, that gives me 12. I bring down the plus. When I multiply 4 times 2, I get 8. And when I add these 2 together, that gives me that same number, 20, that I got over here. So distributive property, multiplying a number out front times 2 or more things inside the parentheses. The main way we're going to have you show it is having a number out front with a variable and another number inside there. So I'm going to multiply that 4 times the x, and then I'm going to multiply that same 4 times that 2. So 4 times x will give me 4x, which shows multiplying 4 times the variable x, so 4x. And of course I can multiply, put any number inside there, plus 4 times this 2 gives me 8. So 4x plus 8 is that 4 being distributed through to the x and the 2. Another way we're going to have you show it is with the box and that number that you're distributing out front and the 2 parts on top, that x and that 2 on top. So this way you're timesing this 4 times the x and putting that product inside here and multiplying the 4 times this 2. Some ways that helps people to remember that you're timesing this 4 times both. So 4 times that x, we write that 4x. 4 times that 2, we write that 8. We write a plus between these 2 terms and write that as 4x plus 8. Third way I'm going to have you look at the distributive property today is looking at something that's already been distributed and trying to find the number that goes out front. So this one is 6x plus 18, and that's equal to some unknown number that I'm going to need you to know how to find. And then in parentheses, going to have x plus 3. So for this one, you're trying to find the number that would go right here in this box. So when I take that number and I distribute it times the x and the 3, it gives me 6x plus 18. So there's a couple ways I'm going to have you look at that. For this one, I'm looking at there's only one number times x, that gives me 6x. There's only one number times this 3, that gives me that 18. So I could either take that 18 and divide that 3 to get that 6, or I could just see that only 6 times x gives me 6x. To check that, I'm taking that 6 and I'm multiplying by both things inside there. So what that does, that gives me 6x plus 18, which shows me that the number 6 is the only number that can work right there, because 6 distributed through gives me this 6x plus 18. So again, I was looking at this 18 and 3, maybe what number, if I divide 18 and 3, what do I get? It should give me 6. Alright, the next one, last one. This one, a little bit more difficult, but I have full faith in my classes. So this one is 12x plus, and again, I'm going to erase this. That's not going to be a 3. That's going to be 12x plus 20. Equal to some unknown number being distributed to 3x plus 5. And again, you're finding that unknown number. So again, for this one, there's only one number that I could put right here that would times by this 3x and then times by this 5 to get me 12x plus 20. To find that number, I'm going to have you look at a couple of these coefficients, then I'll have you look at these constants. So I'm going to have you take that 12 and that 3 and divide them. And then I'm also going to have you compare this 20 and this 5 and divide those two. And the number that you get should be exactly the same, should be what number would go inside there. So if I do divide that, they both give me 4, which shows me that 4 is the only number I could put inside that box, which is the only number that multiplies times 3x and then times is by 5 to get that 12x plus 20. So that number would have to be 4. I need you to know how to find that unknown number. So what I'm going to have you do is I'm going to have you write down these 3 problems on this same piece of paper. Give you a second to try them, and then I'll show you how to do them. And then when I come back, I'll be more than happy to give you more assistance, and we'll practice these more and look at different ways of the distributive property. Alright, so the first problem is 4 and then parentheses 6 plus 1, and then written again 4 and parentheses 6 plus 1. I'm going to have you do that problem using the order of operations and then also distributing. Number 2, I'm going to have you do a standard distribution problem and then show it using the box method. And then number 3, I'm going to show you something that's already been multiplied through and have you find an unknown number that would multiply times these two terms to get me that 15x plus 30. Alright, so again, for this first one, I want you to do this problem by doing the work inside the parentheses first and then multiplying by this 4. And then I want you to do this same problem using the distributive property, taking this 4 and timesing it by both that 6 and then timesing it times that 1, or multiplying times that 1. Second one, I want you to take this 5 and distribute it through this x and then through that 3. So you're going to multiply this 5 times the x and then that same 5 times that plus 3. And I'm also going to have you do that same problem but showing this box method where you're going to multiply that 5 times the x and put that inside here, and then that 5 times the 3 and put that inside here. And then the last one, I'm going to have you find that unknown number that it would take to multiply times 3x and then that same number multiplying times this 6 to get that 15x plus 30. Alright, so the first one, when I add 6 and 1, that gives me 7. And then 4 times that 7 gives me 28. I could also get that by taking 4 and multiplying times 6, and then taking that same 4 and multiplying times 1 to get 24 plus 4, which is also 28. If I distribute this 5, I'm multiplying the 5 times the x, and then the 5 times the 3 will give me 5x plus 15 when I multiply 5 times 3. Another way of getting that is multiplying 5 times x using this box and writing 5x inside there, and then 5 times that 3 and writing 15 inside there to get 15x plus 15. Always writing a plus between these two. And the last one, the only number that's going to work is if I take a look at these two coefficients, the number in front of x, 15 divided by 3, and then if I compare that to 30 and 6, these two constants should be the same number, which it would be, which would be 5. So again, back to that last one there, sorry about that. 5 would be the only number that would work inside there. 5 is the only number times 3x, and then times that 6 to get 15x plus 30. I could have also got that 5 by dividing 30 and 6. That would have also gave me 5, which I could again check by taking 5 times 3x and 5 times 6 to get that 15x plus 30. So when you're finished, turn this paper in. This video will also be posted on my shared Google Slides. Good luck.